The transformative journey of Psalm 13, trusting God through despair. Psalm 13 portrays an intensely human narrative of deep anguish that transitions into unwavering trust in God's mercy. This six-verse psalm captures the raw cry of a troubled soul, yearning for divine intervention amid darkness. Through its vivid progression from lament to trust, it invites us into a theological reflection on God's faithfulness despite life's trials. Before we continue, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Psalm 13 reminds us that the journey of faith includes both valleys of sorrow and peaks of rejoicing. Its timeless message assures us that God listens, even when His silence feels overwhelming, and that praising Him in trust can transform our pain into worship. A lone figure kneels beneath a thunderous sky, surrounded by shadows that seem to close in tighter with every second. The heavens appear sealed, as though God's face is hidden, while tears stream down the figure's face. The narrative of Psalm 13 captures the emotional journey from deep despair to unwavering trust in God, highlighting themes of lament, prayer, and the transformative power of faith as the psalmist navigates feelings of abandonment to ultimately celebrate divine mercy. How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? The psalmist's repeated "how long" conveys an aching desperation. This cry is the spiritual language of one whose heart feels crushed under the weight of silence, longing for a glimpse of God's presence. The stormy sky reflects this emotional turbulence. The impenetrable clouds are symbolic of unanswered prayers, and the loneliness is palpable in the figure's posture. The mood is one of spiritual turmoil, resonating deeply with anyone who has questioned God's seeming absence during trials. Scripturally, this lament aligns with the human experience of waiting on the Lord, reminding us that even King David felt the anguish of divine silence. Theologically, the psalm underscores that such laments are not rejections of God, but raw expressions of faith, crying out to a God who is still present and sovereign. As the storm intensifies, the figure raises their face to the sky, eyes closed, arms outstretched and hands trembling. A faint golden beam pierces through the clouds, resting upon the figure's uplifted hands. The narrative of Psalm 13 captures the emotional journey from deep despair to unwavering trust in God, highlighting themes of lament, prayer, and the transformative power of faith as the psalmist navigates feelings of abandonment to ultimately celebrate divine mercy. Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. The tone shifts here from lament to petition, as the psalmist urgently asks for God's attention and enlightenment. The ray of light breaking through the storm represents divine grace, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. The raised hands signify humility and total dependence upon God. The urgency and vulnerability in these verses teach us an essential truth. Reliance on God requires both surrender and bold requests for His intervention. Faith practitioners are reminded here that God desires our honesty, urging us to bring all our struggles before Him, even our doubts and fears. The transformative power of faith as the psalmist navigates feelings of abandonment to ultimately celebrate divine mercy. Spiritually, the imagery of "lighten mine eyes" can be seen as an appeal for divine wisdom or spiritual awakening. It echoes Jesus' promise in John 8:12, where He declares Himself to be the light of the world, offering clarity, peace, and direction amid the shadows of life. The storm clears, revealing a brightly radiant sky. The figure now stands atop a hill bathed in sunlight, with arms outstretched in joyous praise. Rolling fields of vibrant green stretch endlessly before them, glowing under the light. The narrative of Psalm 13 captures the emotional journey from deep despair to unwavering trust in God, highlighting themes of lament, prayer, and the transformative power of faith as the psalmist navigates feelings of abandonment to ultimately celebrate divine mercy. But I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord because He hath dealt bountifully with me. The psalm transitions from grief to gratitude. The psalmist recalls God's mercy and chooses to trust, despite the lingering echoes of pain. Now free from despair, they find rest in the truth that God, in his time and wisdom, acts with abundant generosity. The mood shifts triumphantly to one of joy and trust. The figure's raised arms express both gratitude and victory, a spiritual posture that acknowledges God's sovereignty and goodness. The bright sunlight symbolizes God's salvation, illuminating the landscape of the psalmist's life and revealing his restoration. Psalm 13 invites believers to adopt this transformational journey in their own prayers, to begin by honestly expressing sorrow, to petition God for his mercy, and to cultivate trust that manifests in praise. Even when we cannot see the resolution, faith calls us to declare with conviction, "I will sing unto the Lord." Psalm 13, like many biblical laments, stems from a tradition where cries of anguish are woven into faith-filled prayers. Grounded in the covenant relationship between God and Israel, this psalm affirms God's steadfast love, despite seasons of perceived silence. Theologically, it points to the enduring truth of God's faithfulness. He never abandons his people. The plea for light in verse 3 transcends the immediate circumstances of the psalmist, pointing prophetically to Christ, the ultimate light of the world. His triumph over despair and death brings eternal hope to all who trust in him. Psalm 13 foreshadows the eschatological promise that God's justice will prevail and ultimate renewal will come. For the faithful, Psalm 13 serves as a model for prayer during difficult times. The psalm encourages us to approach God with authenticity, to pour out our emotions without fear. It reminds us to trust that God can transform anguish into joy, despair into renewal, and waiting into rejoicing. In Jewish, Christian, and Orthodox traditions, Psalm 13's themes of lament and trust are used liturgically in moments of personal or communal trials. It teaches resilience, patience, and the unshakable assurance in God's mercy. Modern psychology affirms that expressing grief leads to healing, a principle modeled in Psalm 13. By vocalizing despair and seeking divine assistance, the psalmist provides a framework for navigating pain in a healthy, faith-filled way. This universal message transcends cultures and invites reflection on the shared human experience of suffering and hope. Imagine yourself as the figure in this psalm, kneeling beneath the stormy sky. Picture your deepest struggles weighing you down, the clouds above reflecting the heaviness in your heart. Cry out to God with honesty. Tell him your fears, your pain, and your longing for his light. Visualize that faint beam breaking through the clouds, God's assurance that he hears and he will act. Lift your face and hands toward him, trusting that his mercy is already at work. Resolve in your heart to declare, like the psalmist, "I have trusted in thy mercy." Let this trust shape your prayers even while you wait for the storm to pass. Incorporate Psalm 13's structure into your devotion. Begin with lament, present your petitions, and end with praise. Let this practice deepen your dependence on God and strengthen your faith. Psalm 13 powerfully reminds us that despair is not the final word. The journey from sorrow to joy reflects the transformative work of God's grace in the life of every believer. As faith practitioners, let the psalmist's final words be your anthem. "I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me." In your darkest moments, trust that God's light will break through. Just as the storm in Psalm 13 gave way to sunshine, so too will your times of trial be replaced by joy and gratitude. Cling to his promise, and let your song of praise rise as a testament to his enduring faithfulness. If you enjoyed this video about Psalm 13, help support our channel by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.